Good evening. Welcome to the Planning Commission. If you call, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Roll call. All present that's on the board right now. Are there any additions or deletions on the agenda?
Just a note, number 5, that the correct term for that addition, plat is Zabinski Acres. It's on there either way. Zabinski Acres is what it was decided.
Okay, duly noted.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor, sing by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approved with all present. Number 4, rezoning. Public hearing, request of United Rentals LLC for rezoning property at 141 28th Avenue South from B2 Commercial General Business District to I3 28th Avenue Corridor, subdivision CD 30048, subdivision name M&M Estates, Section 18, Township Range 124, all in the city of Way Park, Stearns County, Minnesota. Public hearing opened at 6:31.
Chair Jansky, Planning Commission members, those in attendance tonight, anyone watching at home now or perhaps later. This request has been submitted by United Rentals Realty LLC with permission of the current property owner. I think most folks are aware this is the former Trout Wells location, which was recently vacated by Trout as they relocated to an expanded facility in St. Joe. We've had some discussions with the applicants over the past few months and their consideration of the property. This property is a little bit unique in that even though it's a long-standing industrial property, Trout, of course, was probably most considered a I-1 type use, light industrial. It was zoned B2 Commercial General Business District, probably in anticipation of some long-term development for the area, but largely has stayed kind of that industrial nature there. Both in the current B2, the Trout Wells and an equipment rental facility would typically not be considered appropriate uses in a new B2 district, but this is a case where it was basically we treated as a grandfather property. Realistically, it was kind of at our discretion whether we wanted to pursue a rezoning application, and I had some comfort level with allowing the use to go forward because it's a like or similar type use to Trout with outdoor storage, general use of the property. So I didn't necessarily require a rezoning. That's at our discretion, but in discussions with the applicant, it was determined that it might be best for all parties to pursue the rezoning of the property from that B2 actually to their newest district, the I3 28th Avenue South Corridor District, which starts just across the street to the south and extends southward and westward to 33rd Avenue and includes 3rd and 4th Street South. That was designed to kind of allow for a mix of both light industrial type uses that fit well with those buildings there, as well as some kind of retail and office type uses. And that was done with consideration of property owners at the time that were seeking some greater flexibility there. In this case, an easy comparison that's quite nearby is the 360 Rents facility, just one parcel between there. That is also located within that established I-3 28th Avenue corridor and is a very, very similar in use to the proposed use of the property by United Rental, the applicant. There's a plan for use of the property by the applicants that's been included. We are and will be working with them on screening and fencing aspects for some portions of the property to bring it into compliance with our current ordinances. There is a a security chain link perimeter fence, but we've had some discussion regarding options to upgrade all or portions of the fencing, or perhaps some interior fencing options for specific sort of uses. We would allow, very similar to 360 rents, putting equipment that would be offered for rent along frontages or things like that. That's at, if the applicants chose to, that would be within their purview to do that. I'm generally comfortable with the plans as proposed by the applicant, and I do feel it to be an appropriate use for the city and the property. Feel that the rezoning of the property would be beneficial for both the city and the applicant in this case. Seems to be a good use for that property instead of letting it sit vacant and potentially end up in something that might not be quite as desirable. Given the existing gravel surfaces of the area, I am also comfortable with continued utilization of the site with the gravel for storage areas, given that industrial nature. And that's not uncommon particularly for these older properties that were developed prior to being in the city. This property, along with many others in that area, were developed while it was in township. And so we have quite a few kind of what we call grandfather or legal nonconformities that will work with applicants to upgrade them when time is right, or if they're doing expansions or major sort of work. But so we're generally pretty comfortable leaving them as is in most cases. So my recommendation would be approval of the requested rezoning of the property from B2 Commercial General Business District to I3 20th Avenue Corridor District. That would conclude my report.
Thank you, John. Any commissioners got any comments, or? This is a public hearing. If anybody wants to come up and speak for or against, just come up to the podium, give your name and address, please.
We have one of the people from the rental place. I come to the podium, got a couple questions for you.
My name's John Lewicka. My wife Renee and I have Salvage Sisters, a repurposed store. We're just the property to the north of them.
Okay.
I guess my question would be about the fencing. What's gonna be required for the new property?
We haven't ironed out a specific plan yet. What we'd be looking at is probably upgrading either interior portions, depending on what's stored there, with some sort of opaque fence, whether it's chain link with then slats in it, or some sort of solid fencing. We typically leave that component to be kind of negotiated between the applicants and the city. We don't typically require that be finalized at the time of rezoning. We've also discussed the idea of including some sort of slats on the existing chain link fence to make use of that. That's been done at several sites in town when there's been changes that have kind of kicked in that requirement. And in some cases, it's been pretty successful. I think we've learned as we have worked through that, what kind of materials work for that and what don't. There are materials that work for that kind of threading through the chain link fencing slats that can be pretty successful. But in short, we haven't really detailed that out just yet. I know for comparison, 360 Rents just nearby doesn't have any screening whatsoever. They have a security fence, but no specific screening. But we did make the applicants aware that we would probably seek some upgrade with this site. I know Trout there has had long-standing outdoor storage, and it wasn't necessarily the most sightly thing. But when we get a chance to try and improve upon the conditions a little bit, we'll try that.
How would the addition of this fence affect our property and our building and our business next door?
Are you? Yeah,
We do share a property line.
Shouldn't affect them at all.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have some sort of private cross easement agreement or something, it shouldn't really impact your property. I don't know if they've been on here on the aerial image we have. It looks like there may have been some storage taking place on your property with Was that something that was,
That was Mark Trout while they were in the process of moving. So
okay. Yeah, and the photo, of course, is just a snapshot in time. You know, the applicants have the right to fence their property, but, honestly, I really wouldn't be concerned unless there's a fence there already that we'd work with. I really wouldn't be concerned with fencing those interior portions. They're not really readily visible from the road or anything.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Anybody else would like to speak for or against, or?
There's nobody here from United Rentals, I'm assuming? Okay.
Yes, I'm Wade Adamson. I'm attorney representing United Rentals and have been in contact with John for this, this process.
Okay.
And submitted our plans. I know that the, United Rentals is eager to get in and operate in this space. Wanted to make sure that the zoning was appropriate, given that the potential long-term use of the site. And so I've been working with John in communication with that to make sure that, it's all done appropriately.
I drove out and looked at both properties. I know where United Rentals is, and the only question I have with the company is moving into here, looking at the ground space and it being gravelled, what's their policy as far as how they clean their rental units when they come back? Where would they do that? What do they do if the machine comes back with any kind of oil on it to preserve the integrity of the ground in that area? So that's one of the big questions I have on it, that if maybe you can have them get back to John on that, how that's handled.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know the specifics of those practices, but I understand the question and the reason for the question, and I'll reach out to my client and have them follow up with
I
John
saw
directly.
the area that they're in now, and, I didn't go on the property, but I just wanted to make sure that, because they got the similar base in their fenced-in area out there, and I'm just kind of curious how that's handled, so we
Yep.
don't have any runoff, going into the sewer system or
Yep,
neighboring properties.
That's an entirely valid question. I would assume, organization like United Rental probably has some policy in place for inspection of property or their rentals. It doesn't do them any good if they have broken equipment coming back or going out, so, we can get that detail from them ahead of assuming it would go forward to the council. That's a good idea.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I presume this is a general rental type, renting general equipment, not any specific type? Not like just traffic signs or something?
No, this is a general kind of rental. They also, in addition to the more typical rental equipment, they would also have some of the kind of the storage containers or some of those things on site. And this would be an appropriate area for those sorts of things. I know, at city level, we've kind of wrestled with what to do with some of those storage containers sometimes when they pop up in the back of places like Kohl's or, businesses like that. But this is a place where it would be appropriate to have some of those on site for renting out. And kind of those portable offices for job sites and some of those things. But otherwise lifts and, the kind of stuff that, a small construction project would take for a homeowner or something like that. Very, very much along the lines of 360 Rents just nearby,
Okay, thank you.
excavators and things.
Get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Public hearing closed at 6:44.
Thank you, everybody. Wade, I will keep you posted on upcoming date when we expect this to go to the council. I don't have that just yet, but I'll follow up as soon as I know.
All right.
We
Thank
need
you
to
all
vote
very
on
much.
it first.
Thank you. Safe travels.
We haven't voted on it yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
It's the second time I've done that recently.
I would make a motion for approval of the transfer to the new zoning.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second to approve. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Passed, all present.
Sorry about that, I just get too excited
Oh,
sometimes.
you're all right.
It's nice to put that properly.
Would've been bad if you said that, and then we go, all in favor, and nobody says anything.
I could've got up and left if things would've went wrong.
All right.
Okay, notice of public hearing. The Way Park Planning Commission hold a meeting at City Hall, 1913th Avenue North, 6:30, or soon thereafter, on Tuesday, April 12th, 2022, to hear the following request. Request of Bob W. Zabinski, 2003 Workable Trust for a review of preliminary and final plat at Zabinski Acres. The property is legally described as southwest quarter, Section 31, Township 124, Range 28, Stearns County, Minnesota, City of Way Park. Hearing open at 6:45.
Chair Jansky, Planning Commission members. First, to start, I'll acknowledge that Planning Commission member Zabinski is the applicant in this case, so he has recused himself from discussion and vote as is required and appropriate. He's not had any undue influence on this process. It's just a matter of course for someone with a pending application to recuse themselves. This has been submitted by Mr. Zabinski, as a simple one lot, one block subdivision, Zabinski Acres. You may recall that recently there was a variance granted to reduce the size of the minimum from 10 acres to 5 acres. That did receive approval from the city council, so at that point, they went forward with preparation of the plat, which is required ahead of the construction. We can't issue a building permit until we've gone through the platting process. So it is a very straightforward, single lot, single block, 5 acres in size, pretty cut and dry. The property has not been previously platted, so it would be required that there's a payment in lieu of parkland dedication. That has to go to the park board. We will work on that after this review, assuming everything goes forward. Based on the ordinance requirement for payment in lieu of parkland dedication, it would be $836 for a single lot. I am supportive of the preliminary final plats as submitted. And with the conditions as outlined, just that single condition that it would be subject to the requirement for the payment in lieu of parkland dedication as established by the city council. That concludes my report.
Thank you, John. Being there's nobody here from the public unless Bob wants to speak. Can I get a motion? Okay. Can I get a motion to close public?
I move we close the public hearing.
Second?
A motion, a second, close public hearing. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Public hearing closed at 6:48.
I'll make a motion to approve this with the conditions that were set forth by John.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion and a second to approve with conditions. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Pass with all three. Any new business or that, John?
No new business tonight.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Got a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned to 6:49.
Thank you, everybody.